Hello, everybody. I'm Andrew Downey, and I'm getting ready to get out on a pretty epic adventure. I think I'm excited about it. I'm pretty apprehensive. The Pacific Crest Trail is pretty long. It's, it's quite an endeavor, and I'm pretty thrilled about having the opportunity. I think that's what I'm most excited about, is that I've been able to, structurally put it in place to be able to actually give it a go. I fell in love with the Pacific Crest Trail a few years ago, which is surprising because my mother and I, back in '94, we did the John Muir Trail, or maybe 80% of it. She funded a hey, where do you want to go in the world? What do you want to do to celebrate graduating from university? And so I was like, I want to go do the John Muir Trail. And my mom's friends, of course, thought that I was trying to kill my mother because she was a state employee. She hadn't done hardly any hiking in her life. And, but is like, no, that's what I want to do. She had taken my sister to Greece for a month. And so, but I'm like, I didn't really want to do any international travel and stuff. I want to be out in the woods. Like, that's more my style. And, so, that was back in the day when my Dana Terraplane pack weighed 7.25 pounds just for the backpack. It, God knows how many liters that thing, carries. And, I'm sure that my pack weighed 50 pounds at the start of the trip. And within maybe 2 days, I had almost all of my mother's stuff also because, she's not a backpacker, and I mean, neither was I, but I was also like 23 years old or something ridiculous where, basically you can kind of do anything when you're that age. And so anyway, we had a really great adventure out there, but, it's hard to carry a 50 or 60 pound pack in the high Sierras and stuff. But I think that was like my real introduction to, certainly the high Sierras, but I have done, hundreds of days of, world-class whitewater kayaking. And so I'm super familiar with adventure and really difficult days and long trips. Like the Grand Canyon was 23 days on the water and we had killer flows. But taking on something like the PCT is, it's like I really know what it is that I'm getting into. And I think, like, I know my body can do it. And spiritually, I'm up for the task. Emotionally, the day in, day out, I think that's where the trick is going to be for me. I've done about 12, maybe 1,300 miles of the Pacific Crest Trail in 2020. My wife and I, we're both chiropractors. We've been in practice for 25 years. And this is kind of a celebration of just a life well lived. I mentor people in having incredible lives, and my life is extraordinary, nothing short of extraordinary, bordering magical regularly. And that's not hyperbolic, Chiropractic is an incredibly beautiful profession, and we get to watch people's lives be changed on a regular basis. And our education allowed us the understanding that, it was good. It was the right decision for us to homeschool our kids. And part of the homeschooling project has been, well, how do you get your kids to understand how competent they are, how strong they are, to get to know themselves? And I just don't think that there's many ways that you can engage adolescents in getting to know themselves rather than long distance hiking. And so it's like we had that idea. We've done a lot of canyoneering trips since the time the kids were able to walk. Helmets on, backpacks, waterproof backpacks on, 9 days through some of the most rugged canyons in Northern California, steep vertical walled things where, dad and the 3-year-old get to jump off of a rock. Beautiful situations, but it teaches kids to be confident in themselves, competent, and to create a storyline for themselves that's, just extraordinary. And Naomi, my wife, she got involved in learning about the Camino de Santiago. And so as a homeschool project, they went and did the Camino de Santiago, the northern route, in 2018. And so I think they did 600 or 700 miles. The kids were 13 and 15. That was their first more than 2-week trip. And they came back from that and, they just had an over-the-top experience. And so then maybe, I guess it was 2 years later, the idea came to us through a good friend of ours. His name is Josh. He runs the North Fork Chai Company. He did the Pacific Crest Trail in maybe 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. And he kind of inspired me to have the boys do the Pacific Crest Trail. So we ventured out on that trip in 2020, and the kids were 15 and 17 years old. And so I flew to San Diego with them, and I walked for the first 2 weeks. And then while Naomi was taking care of the practice and taking care of the home and property, and, you can kind of see that it's a really beautiful place. Our practice is kind of like healing in paradise. We have a home office. It's completely lovely. And so she was taking care of the home and property by herself, which is an incredible feat to do. And then she came down and resupplied the trip, but I came home. So she got out on trail with the kids at Highway 10. She did the next 200 miles with them while I came home and did the office, take care of the property, run the business kind of thing. And then after 2 weeks, I went back out on trail. And so Naomi and I flip-flopped back and forth. And, but we shut our office down for the 3 weeks that we did the High Sierras, and we did the High Sierras as a family. And what an amazing thing to have the absolute best trip of my life, and I'm walking. And I've done so much hiking, but it's not that exciting in general. It's hard, and you're dirty, and you're looking at the trail a lot. And of course it's really beautiful, but the human adapts to beauty. And so then it just seems normal. And so, but I was astounded by how incredible it was. See, because hiking kind of lacks that excitement that, whitewater kayaking provides, or rock climbing provides, or alpine skiing provides. There's a lot of these activities that are like, all right, time to send it, and it's like a little bit more dicey. And I know that happens sometimes hiking, but when you're hiking, you really want to avoid that stuff. Some of the river crossings, some of walking on these logs that are up above these kind of rivers that are going pretty good. This stuff all gets really pretty dicey, and some of the big chutes and stuff that, you don't want to slip. And thankfully they make the micro spikes and the ice axes and stuff. And so we had this incredible trip through the high Sierras as a family. But then what happened was that the kids, they were so competent out there that Naomi realized by the time we got the trip up towards Truckee, the Highway 50, Sugar Bowl area, she comes to me and she says, "Oh, the kids don't need us anymore." And so it's like, you're suggesting that we let the kids out in the high Sierras by themselves. They're 15 and 17 years old, but they're exuding competence. And they're going to have more fun without us for sure. And so, being good parents, we felt like the decision was, okay, well, let's give it a go. And so then, we just found ourselves unnecessary. And so then we were off the trail more and more. And they did certainly half of Northern California by themselves, a little bit more than half of Oregon by themselves. And they did the entire state of Washington, except for the last 30 miles from Harts Pass to the border and back. We did that as a family just to celebrate how epic the entire thing was. And what was awesome about it was that we skated through the entire trip with like no problems at all. Our trip in the high Sierras, we had a lot of snow, but the weather was just completely incredible the entire time. We certainly got to test our gear at various points in time in incredible adverse conditions, but nothing was like our last night on the family as on the PCT. And I'll explain that later in the series here. I'll probably do an upload, 2 or 3 times a week, something like that. And, but so I've done about 12 or 1,300 miles of the trail. Naomi's done 12 or 1,300 miles of the trail. Our boys did the entire PCT. 2 years later, in 2022, they did the AT. And next year, they're going to do the CDT. And so the opportunity showed up where like this kind of synchronistic thing happens where it's like, we're finishing up 25 years of practice and we have no plans on retiring. So I can just go on a sabbatical. The kids are like, Mom, Dad, you guys have done so much to facilitate us on the AT and the PCT that we'll be at home and we can take care of the property and everything. And so, Dad, you get out there. And it's perfect for me because there are periods of time in life where when you want to like massively narrow the distance between what you are and what you know you can be, it just takes some effort. And sometimes that effort is like a 5-year block. Sometimes it's a 3-year block. This last one that I've gone through has been like a 3 or 4-year block. And then it gets, hopefully it smooths out. Like if you make good decisions and you get stuff done, it's like hopefully things smooth out. And so I've just been really finishing up this really epic movement forward, but it's been really destructive to my physiology. I've just been sitting behind the computer. I've filmed dozens and dozens of hours of everything that I've learned as a chiropractor. And, I'm one of these straight A student kind of people, not when I was in high school or anything like that, because that didn't matter to me. But once I got to chiropractic college, I got really serious and like got straight A's and everything. And I've continued to study certainly 15 or 18 hours a week, and I take incredible notes. And so I got the knowing that I was supposed to put it all together and then present it in a fashion that's digestible. And so it created like 150 hours of material. You know, that's not what this video is about, but the point is that sitting behind a computer is really bad for my physiology, bad for everything about me, except for this really beautiful thing that we humans get involved with, which is service to humanity, right? Like when we do really well, what we do, we keep raising the bar for ourselves, and then we figure out how to make a difference. How do we contribute? How do we find the group of people that we can influence and that we can legitimately make a difference to? And then we strive to make a difference for that. And so I've just been kind of checking off the last little bits of this big project that's all online. And then everything kind of comes together for me to be like, I'm not the kind of person that does half of something, right? I did like roughly half of the Pacific Crest Trail 4 years ago. And it's like, I feel so incredibly incomplete. And so things have lined up. Life has so much to do with saying, yes, let's go. And so, yeah, couple weeks, and I didn't think it was going to happen, you know, because there's just so many moving parts and our world is so crazy right now. And, but heck, you know, I got a permit. And so we're going to go get out on trail. Naomi's going to be with me for the first 2 weeks. And then she's coming home. She's going to take care of the practice in the home and all that kind of stuff. Kai and Teo are going to meet me in Kennedy Meadows South. We got the two of them, and then 3 of their hooligan buddies are going to join us. They've never been out on trail in any long distance fashion or anything like that. And they're just going like right into the deep end of the pool of like, okay, I mean, they're all in their early 20s, so they'll all be completely fine. But, you know, there's going to be some sore kids, and, you know, it's going to be great. But we're going to take our time in the high Sierras. I'm taking a fly rod because last time I was up in there, it was like, the fishing here is world class. So anyway, that's the plan. And I've got a couple more videos that I want to do before I get on trail. One is to do a collab with my buddy Josh, who he's inspiring to me. He's inspiring to my boys. He runs the local cafe here in Newcastle, California. And there's no doubt that I've been inspiring to him, and that's how the world should work, right? Like, come on, guys, let's all like work together and make amazing lives for ourselves. So I'm going to probably do a bit of an interview with him. I think that's going to be really fun. It'd be nice for us to hash through the details of how cool our experience together has been. It has relevance to the PCT, so it'd be good. It's good. And then I think I'm going to do a gear video because I'm that guy that uses gear until it's done. And I love repairing gear, and I love like innovating and making new gear. So I've got a number of items that are custom made that I've designed them, but I didn't build them because I don't really know how to do the building side of some of the sewn garments and stuff like that. But I'll show you what I've built, and if you like them, yeah, you'll be able to reproduce them or whatever. I don't manufacture these things or anything like that. They're just for our personal use because I like to innovate and be creative and, those kinds of things. And so I'll probably do a gear video. I think it'll be interesting. And so anyway, I'm Andrew Downey. I'm hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. I think it's going to be really challenging for me. I'm not convinced that I can do it. I've done a lot of multi-day trips, but this is like multi-day trip. And it wears on me just being dirty all the time. And so it's going to be neat to watch myself discover a place of resourcefulness that gets me through the lows. I'm weak in that category. But like when it's hard and the time frame is short, man, I'm good. But I don't know, like when it's hard and the duration is really long, how I'm going to do. So there's this like really unknown thing that I'm going to get to discover. That's the biggest piece of this trip that I'm excited about. And I'm excited about like figuring out how to stand in front of a camera and put something together that I feel like I'm expressing myself well, and recording something for my friends and family and for my future self. And so there's a lot going on. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity. And so I hope you join me. And I'm so up for your feedback and stuff like that. So come take a ride.